Hi there. XRP is currently down by around 2% so far this week. It's time to look at it through the Wyckoff lens and see what the whales are doing and where the price is heading next. If you're new to my session, I'll cover the Wyckoff stage, trend change potential, as well as key price levels. These are education content, not financial advice. The weekly chart of XRP is showing us that it is still trying to avoid the accumulation cycle, meaning it can still head back to the distribution stage. So this distribution cycle has started way back in 2024, near the end of it, around November. After the upthrust back in July last year, it has been continuously coming back down to what I call, or what in Wyckoff terms called, the sign of weakness level. This level at around the green key level of $1.54 is where the April 2025 reached. So you see this long wick over here. We are back to this level now. For this red cross we are having this week, as of this moment, there's still 5 days, a little bit over 5 days, for this week's candle to develop. As of now, the bulls and bears are agreeing at the current price point of around 1.58. They're not making any push or pull as of this moment. You see the wicks went both ways a little, but it's not going either side. The bulls are trying very hard to defend at 1.45. You see last week and this week, the wicks from near or around the 1.45 green key level. So that's in terms of price actions, that's the big picture. In terms of volume, if you look at the volume chart, it has come down to a very low level. It's way lower than the entire 2025 first half. And then subsequently, sparingly in the second half, you can say currently is still lower than average volume back in the second half of 2025. It's not a bad sign, let's put it this way. But the thing is, after this period of, would you call this the silence before the storm? Because during 2021 distribution cycle, they have gone through a pretty low period compared to the peak. Okay, let me move the chart a little bit to the side so you can see. So from the peak over here to eventually the price come down, the volume was declining actually, and then with sustained red weeks. So this is where we are now. The price went up, the volume, parabolically came down, and we are having 5 consecutive weeks of red candles already. So be careful that it is really dropping back to accumulation. And what it means, what it implies is that even though without panic sell, there may not be, it can be very gradual over weeks, like I just said, similar to the 2021 distribution cycle. What October 10th indicated to us is that the price can get back to somewhere near the purple key level of 86 cents. That's very close to the top of the accumulation cycle back in 2002, all the way into end of 2024. Okay, so even if it is going to accumulate at a higher level, the downside risk, I'll just show you how deep it can get to. And if you are saying there's no way for Ripple to go lower, given all the positive news and development in the payments world, if it really rebounds and get to a point where we call, if it really sets a higher high than the upthrust back in July last year, what we call the upthrust after distribution, UTAD. Okay, that can happen, but it has to be very good news given the macro environment and the new Fed chair is coming in, all sorts of reasons, including geopolitical risk. Okay, in the payment world, different countries are basically in clusters now. They're trying to avoid something that can be controlled by a particular geopolitical power. That's it, okay? Very simple. Whoever has strong influence on a particular payment network, you can argue XRP is not controlled by anybody, but, how about influence, right? Not direct control. Which country has strong influence over that network? Then certain other countries would avoid. So there are counter arguments to these kind of adoption theories, all right? So if it is really coming down for accumulation, the very first stage after the panic sell will be the panic over, meaning we see the price finally stabilize along a level. Not saying it's the current level, just showing you as an example. It may trade for a week or 2 to 3 weeks or even longer, not breaking to a lower level, not breaking the support. And then there will come a rally, what we call automatic rally. That's the time where the whales are going to set the trading range top, like what had happened back in 2022 over here. And then subsequently, there will be a series of trading between those two levels. You see over here, the light blue line and the yellow line over here, until the point people are willing to come back in. And those we call the sign of strength, meaning price rise combined with taller volume bars. So that's what we hope to see and will see at a later stage if it really comes to the time that it is ready, that people are willing to get back in and it is ready for another distribution cycle. So a long story for the big picture, because it's tricky for a couple of bigger altcoins that they are not in accumulation cycle like most of the other smaller ones. So here we're seeing 6 dates. What are they? They are basically potential trend change confirmation dates. So I mentioned the downtrend. Started late July last year. XRP is still within this downtrend. Okay, it's currently at the weaker side of the downtrend. So if we draw a center line over here, cutting across the most frequent candlesticks, not necessarily halfway of the bottom. It doesn't have to be 50% this side, 50% over this side. Sometimes the trading activity is just lean on one side. But as of now, for XRP, plus 5 days, 6 days, it has just gone back to the weaker half of the channel. So that means if it has to come up to break the ceiling, to confirm that this downtrend, this over half a year downtrend is finally over, it has to come trade to this side and break outside of this ceiling and then sustain above a certain support level. Then we get the confirmation. We can consider we get that confirmation. February 8th is obviously very stretched. It's a matter of just 4 to 5 days. If the price really surge through 3 resistant levels, then it's got a chance. And that's not easy. 3 resistance level in the matter of days, like what happened over here in the beginning of the year. It has to be very good news. Otherwise, once it gets to the ceiling of the downtrend, it's going to get rejected, like what happened back in January on the 8th. Right? It got rejected, and then the bulls try to go in and push the price back. And then the second day, the days after, it kept coming down. All right. So after February, after the 8th and the 20th, we've got the 1st of March and 22nd of March. Those are in relation to the 1.99 blue key level and then 1.83 light blue key level. And after that, the green key level, where it crosses the ceiling, will get to the end of April. This is where the current price level is. So if the price can't go above the light blue key level of 1.83 and just trade between this green and the light blue key levels, eventually, by the time we get closer to the end of April, we'll get that confirmation. It doesn't mean there's nothing else in between. You see this purple dashed line over here. That's somewhere around 1.71. that's the price. That's an intermediate level. My study looks at some of these price actions as well. So the right below the light blue key level, we see a couple of occasions back in April 2025, as well as May 2021, May 2021. There were times that in between the 1.45 and 1.83 key level, the price took a pause. And just recently, on Friday, it showed us this intermediate level still have effect. When the price came down, it touched this level, and then the boost kind of stopped it from going through until the next day it continues the drop. You see, it happened over here. It happened back in 2021. So this is giving us an indication of early April. But like I said, it's only an intermediate level, not a key level. So there's still a lot of time for us to observe how far the price goes before we make a decision whether that's like a reasonable call that we're going to see it by early April. If you're interested to get access to these sessions 2 days earlier than the others, it's time to join the channel membership now. Thank you. Here's another video you may be interested in. See you.